Now, the rise in the popularity of the sharing economy and short-term accommodation sites like Airbnb seems like a great way to earn some cash, but there is a lot to consider and take care of, from organising the key handover, the cleaning, managing the listing, the reviews to get the best rates, all of that sort of thing, which is where short-term property management specialists like MadeComfy are stepping in. And to tell us more about it, we're joined by co-founder Quirin Schwaighofer, live from the HIA Sydney Home Show. Quirin, thank you so much for joining us. So just tell us a little bit about what exactly MadeComfy does.
Hi all, thank you so much for welcoming us. At MadeComfy, think about hosting your property or your home on Airbnb or stays, but without having all the work that comes with it and having more money in your pocket at the end. That's what MadeComfy is.
That makes it sound like you do it for nothing. I'm sure there is a fee involved here somewhere. But before we get to that, give us an idea of some of the services you provide.
So what we provide is a full end-to-end management service, which means we provide everything from the beginning to the end. So usually start, you get in touch with us, we consult you on your property, how to style it, what you can do really easily to increase the attraction of your property. We provide you with a financial analysis to understand what you are expecting to earn. And then our team comes in, we take professional photos of your styled beds, we write really compelling listings, so getting you up with keywords and things like that. We then put you up in several booking platforms, the famous ones, of course, Airbnb, Stays in Australia, but also Booking.com and the HomeAway Group and TripAdvisor. We then get in touch with the guests, we do all the communication, there are often a lot of questions that guests have. It's often the first time they do something like that, and we do all of that. We also manage the pricing. It's one of those things to understand what the market value of your property is. Also rely, depending on what time of the week or what time of the month, or any seasonality that sort of kicks in, to consider that with your pricing. And then we pretty much set up the whole property. We dress the beds, we provide linen, towels, little chocolates like behind me in the back, and make everything like really, really comfortable for the guests who are going to come. We then let them in, we welcome them. We are there if anything happens, so if your air conditioner stops working, your fridge stops working, appliances usually, they fail when you leave your house. It's really interesting. And yeah, for any questions, we are there. And then when they leave, we turn around the whole property and prepare it for the next guests.
So
that's pretty much what we do.
How much does that cost an owner?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So what we do is we, on average, increase the return of an owner by about 40% compared to doing it himself through our professional services. And for that, we're charging a 20% commission. So at the end, you've got more money in the pocket.
At the moment, you're operating only in Sydney, I understand. Have you got plans to expand this across Australia?
Yeah, so we are currently in Sydney. We got a lot of interest out of Melbourne, where we're going to open up in the second half of this year. But also Central Coast and Brisbane are territories where people contact us and ask us to open up. So this will happen later the year, but early 2018 maybe in Brisbane and the Central Coast.
Wow.
Now, you've done some research on, well, Sydney at the moment, and you know, the best spots for listing on Airbnb and those sorts of sites. What's the research showing?
So what we've done is we looked at the Sydney short-term rental market, and one thing that we identified is, number A, is it's a huge popularity and growth. So just in the last 7 years, the number of visitors increased from 2.6 to 3.6 million. So it's an attractive city, and the city does a lot to attract more visitors. However, there's a shortage of accommodation for people to stay in, and also for families who come who maybe don't have the budget to stay in 1, 2, 3 hotel rooms. This is what we identified. Number one, the demand is growing. On the other hand, is that a lot of hosts are not really maximizing their listings, so they are leaving money on the table by not maybe addressing the needs of a guest or maybe the expectations of a guest, and also not understanding how they can price the property on any given night. So a lot of money is left on the table, demand is growing, and this is sort of where we come in place to help homeowners to make more with their properties.
If you had to name just the top 3 things a homeowner could do to make their property more attractive to the Airbnb market, what would you say?
Well, I think the first one we always talk about is the X factor of your property. So making sure you have quality furniture, you style it. You can do really simple things to make it really stand out in the crowd. And of course, professional photography that make it appealing for guests. When people book, they sort of have a dream, and if you reflect their dream and take them into that dream of your property, you got a big advantage towards others. The second one is reviews. It is so important that you not only provide your property, but that you also look after your guests, that they have an amazing stay, that they are feeling looked after, and give you a good review at the end, because that increases the trust of your listing and of your property for new people that come. And we always say happy guests make happy hosts at the end. And the last bit is to sort of build on that is to manage your pricing. And that is something a lot of people don't do. The recommendations that Airbnb, for example, has is quite low, and very often you can charge more for your place if you have done the previous 2 steps.
Yeah, just I guess, are you finding that if some people in certain areas like Bondi, for example, of Sydney, I mean, would they get more a year in terms of rent by going on short-term rental rather than a long-term residential lease that you would normally do?
Well, it really depends. What you have in Bondi, you have a lot of seasonality, of course. So not every homeowner or property owner can sort of live with those fluctuations in income. What we see really attractive areas are areas where there's no hotel, like the Inner West, like Arncliffe, like the lower North Shore, where people have no other option than staying with friends or with places like an Airbnb. And in those areas, it can be really attractive on that. I also have to say that in Sydney, there are about 90,000 properties that are currently not used. And for a lot of people who have investment properties, they suddenly, because they want to use that property for 1 or 2 months a year, that is suddenly an opportunity to use the property more efficiently rather than just for a couple of weeks or a month a year.
Yeah, you can see the value in it. Quirin, thank you so much for coming on the show today. We hope you have a great time at the HIA show. Looks like it's warm. Enjoy. Thank you so much.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for welcoming us.
Thank you.
You can just hear the buzz, can't you?
You can.
Yeah, so much going on.
And he looked warm too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I sort of felt for him because, he kept asking you questions. But
yes.
it's interesting.
It is. It's fascinating, isn't it?
Now,